Are you spending your days busy yet feeling like you're not getting results? Are you putting in the effort but struggling because the outcomes just aren't there? The answer is simple. Identify the 20% of your actions that matter most. Focus on that 20%. Why does it work? This slide explains it all. In the late 19th century, Vilfredo Pareto was statistically studying the distribution of wealth in Italy. There, he discovered a remarkable fact. Small minority of the population held the vast majority of the wealth. It's widely known through the example that 20% owned 80% of the land. He continued his research further. This law wasn't limited to the distribution of wealth. Business revenue, product popularity, how we spend our time. Across every field, the same pattern repeated itself. This is the 80-20th rule, the Pareto principle. It isn't an absolute universal law like the laws of physics, but it's a powerful rule of thumb that has been proven across countless real-world contexts for over 130 years. The ratio shifts depending on the situation, but the underlying bias that a small number of actions produce the majority of results is operating in your work and in your life. And this is achievable. Pull out today's action list and select only the top 20%, the items that generate the most results. Put everything else on the back burner. This will change your productivity. Today, let me show you the science behind it. The Pareto principle doesn't stay confined to one field. This is a pattern that repeatedly appears across every structure of human society. Let's look at 6 domains. First, wealth distribution. The world's wealth is heavily concentrated at the top. However, the exact ratio varies by country, year, and estimation method. What matters isn't the fixed ratio of 80/20ths. It's the structural bias that a small number hold the majority. Next, customer management. In many businesses, the majority of revenue is reported to come from the top-tier customers. A 2013 analysis by Harvard Business Review observed this tendency across industries. By focusing on your most critical customers, you can maximize revenue. There's an even more famous example. In a 2002 report, Microsoft confirmed that fixing just the top 20% of bugs would prevent 80% of system errors. Even in quality control, a small number of problems create the majority of the impact. Fourth, time management. Just 20% of the important tasks you perform each day determines 80% of your results. Fifth, relationships. The majority of your happiness comes from a small number of the most important relationships in your life. And sixth, knowledge acquisition. In many fields, a small number of foundational concepts dramatically elevate understanding. While the ratio varies by subject and standard of mastery, the idea that focusing on core concepts boosts learning efficiency is supported by the OECD's 2018 review of learning science. Why does this law matter? Because the moment you identify the 20% to focus on, the courage to cut the remaining 80% is born. Here's where it gets interesting. Don't be satisfied with applying the Pareto principle just once. When you stack it 2-3 layers deep, something remarkable happens. Let's look at the numbers. The first application. 20% of all your activities generate approximately 80% of your results. So what happens when you apply the Pareto principle one more time to that 20%? The top 20% within that 20%, just 4% of your total actions, is likely contributing to 64% of your overall results. 4% driving 64%. This is a mathematical calculation, and it doesn't guarantee the ratio will always be exactly this precise. But what this thinking tool teaches us is clear. Narrow down the most critical few even further. Richard Koch details this multi-stage application in his 1997 book, The 80/20ths Principle. It's a method that top business consultants have practiced as a framework for strategic focus. Think about your own work. Say you have 100 tasks. Apply the Pareto principle once, and the top 20 tasks determine the majority of your results. Apply it again, and the top 4 of those become the core of your results. In other words, by making just 4 out of 100 tasks your top priority, your results can change dramatically. This is the power of the multi-stage Pareto principle. So, how do you identify your own critical 20%? Don't rely on instinct or gut feeling. Humans easily mistake busy work for important work. Collect data using a scientific approach. Let me introduce 3 analysis tools. Tool 1 is time logging. Next week, for 7 straight days, log every single activity you do in 15-minute increments. If you are writing emails, log it as email management. If you are talking with a customer, log it as customer communication. After 1 week, tally your activities by category. That time distribution is your reality. In his 1967 book, The Effective Executive, Drucker stated this: "To produce results, first record how you spend your time, then eliminate unnecessary work." That was the essence of his message. That lesson hasn't changed. Tool 2 is ROI calculation. For each activity, calculate the ratio of time invested to results obtained. Results can be revenue, customer satisfaction, skill acquisition, anything works. Only by quantifying it does comparison become possible. Tool 3 is impact assessment. Rate each activity from 1 to 10 on how much it impacts your goal, achievement, income, happiness, and growth. Activities scoring 7 or above are candidates for your critical 20%. For activities below that, consider reducing or outsourcing them. Only when you make decisions based on data, not gut feeling, can you truly focus on what matters. The theory is clear. So how do you put this into practice starting tomorrow? Let's work through 4 steps. Step 1 is creating your activity list. Tonight, take out a piece of paper. Write down every activity, task, and habit you currently do on a regular basis. Work, personal life, learning, everything. You should end up with 20 to 30 items. Step 2 is ranking by effectiveness. For each activity you've written down, rate its contribution to your most important goal from 1 to 10. A 10 means, without this, achieving the goal is impossible. A 1 means, I'm doing it, but I can't see any impact on results. Once rated, sort them from highest to lowest. Step 3 is identifying the top 20%. If your list has 30 items, circle the top 6. These are your critical 20%. Treat these 6 as your top priority tasks. Dedicate the first hours of every day, without exception, to these 6. Step 4 is your elimination plan for the bottom 80%. Sort the remaining 24 into 3 categories. What can be delegated, what can be automated, and what should be stopped completely. Here, I want you to pay special attention to automation. We now have generative AI. Many of the routine tasks that once required human hands can now be handed off to AI. A 2023 study from Harvard Business School showed that leveraging generative AI can dramatically speed up many knowledge worker tasks without sacrificing quality. Aggressively delegate the automatable items in your bottom 80% to AI. You don't need to stop everything at once, but systematically reduce them over the next 3 months. The activities that make you think it'd be a waste to stop, those are exactly the ones you should stop. That feeling is proof that you understand the Pareto principle. Now let me talk about the most critical principle of all. Most people think about what to do, but successful people have always thought about what not to do. Let's look at a famous story about Warren Buffett's personal pilot. Buffett is said to have told his pilot, Mike Flint, this: "Write down 25 goals you want to achieve in your life." After Flint wrote them down, Buffett continued, "Now circle the top 5. Everything else, those 20, are your avoid at all costs list." "But aren't those important too?" Flint asked. Buffett's answer was clear. That's exactly why they're dangerous. What's important but not most important will steal your focus. This story became widely known through a 2013 article in Inc. magazine. Direct confirmation from Buffett himself in a primary source is difficult, but the core lesson remains unchanged. Avoid everything that isn't essential. Steve Jobs did the same thing. When he returned to Apple in 1997, he cut 70% of the product line. He concentrated all resources on the remaining 30%. The result was the iMac, iPod, and iPhone. In his 2014 book, Essentialism, Greg McKeown advocates for the idea of focusing on what's essential, presenting related research and case studies. His conclusion: The ability to say no is the single greatest determinant of productivity. Ask yourself this: is there a request you turned down this week? Is there a habit you eliminated this year? Before you add anything, eliminate something. This is what it means to live the Pareto principle at the level of your life. Now let's pull together the key points. First, the 80/20 rule of thumb is your reality. Wealth, customers, products, time, relationships, knowledge. Across all 6 of these domains, a small number of actions determine the majority of results. The ratio shifts depending on the situation. But the structural bias that a small number produces the majority is operating in your work and in your life. Recognizing this structure is the very first step. Second, multi-stage application is what breaks through. Apply the Pareto principle twice, and just 4% of your actions are likely generating the majority of your results. Identifying this super 20% is your most critical strategic challenge. Use the 3 tools: time logging, ROI calculation, and impact assessment to collect data and shift your decision-making from gut feeling to numbers. Third, the quality of your life is determined by what you don't do. Buffett's avoid at all costs list, Jobs' 70% cut, McEwen's essentialism. Successful people have consistently and consciously invested in the ability to say no. And now you have a powerful weapon: generative AI. By delegating the routine tasks of your bottom 80% to AI, you can reclaim the time and focus you need for your critical 20%. Eliminate before you add. Stop before you start. And what you can't eliminate, hand it to AI. This sequence is what it means to live the Pareto principle. And now ask yourself this: in your task list for this week, which items are the top 20% that generate the most results? Is the amount of time you're spending on that 20% truly enough? Share your Pareto analysis results in the comments. The critical 20% you identified, the bottom 80% you decided to eliminate, and the tasks you've delegated to AI. All of it becomes the collective wisdom of this community. Thanks for investing your time in mastering this today. This channel provides a system for scientifically improving productivity and quality of life using proven rules of thumb like the Pareto principle. Not theory, practice, not gut feeling, numbers. This is how we design your growth. Hit subscribe and keep getting the practical knowledge you need to stay focused on your critical 20%. Turn on notifications, and every time a new video drops, your focus will get sharper. See you in the next one.